Expelled is this decade's answer to Ferris Bueller, a movie which stars YouTuber Cameron Dallas and a handful of other YouTube stars. The movie is about a prankster kid who doesn't care about school, Felix O'Neill, played by Cameron, who finally gets expelled after receiving 3 suspensions in a row from the dean. Over the course of the movie, he gets into some hilarious scrapes anyone familiar with his YouTube videos will love, wins the affections of a pizza delivery girl, and finally manages to blackmail the dean into letting him re-enroll in high school by threatening to expose his gambling addiction. Any fans of Cameron Dallas will be sorry to hear the movie got bad reviews from critics. But this takes focus off a huge YouTuber that's in the movie as well, Andrea Russett.
Your life is a never-ending series of missed opportunities. You just gotta know where to look.
Today, Felix, I was told that you hacked the vending machines to give out free gum to students.
Want some gum?
Is that true?
Gum?
Are you trying to get expelled?
And deny you the pleasure of my company? Mr. Truman's about to call my mom to let her know about my expulsion. I can't let that happen.
Oh! Yo, I heard you got suspended.
Nope, expelled.
Dude, your parents are gonna kill you.
Only if they find out, and they won't.
Number 9. Love her or hate her, YouTube personality Miranda Sings, a character created and played by Colleen Ballinger, has a huge fan base. One which has been growing for many years and has now enabled her to create and star in her very own Netflix series, called Haters Back Off. This series follows and details Miranda's fictional rise to stardom, with the tagline, up-and-coming talent has to up and come from somewhere. She's even appeared on chat shows and has toured in character as Miranda, though there are still tons of people on the internet who think the character is annoying. And to those people, Miranda says, haters back off. It's actually been renewed for a second season as well, which will introduce more characters and bring more personality and depth to a character who came from a viral video.
The usual?
I just uploaded a video to the internet.
Can't wait to go home and see it.
It's real good.
If you want to be with me, baby, there's a price. Yes, on a lot of
Even if no one watches your videos, I love you no matter what.
the most famous people in the world started off on the internet. Justin Bieber, Susan Boyle, that cat that fell off the table when it got scared.
Oh, it's happening, it's happening.
So which Paul brother are we going to talk about today? We're going to talk about the one that has a brighter career as an actor, Logan Paul. He starred last October in a dystopian thriller called The Thinning, the premise of which is that the world's population is too high, and instead of adopting the one-child policy, America decided to implement a standardized test where anyone who fails it gets executed. It was criticized as having a messy plot, though the 6 out of 10 on IMDb and 62% on Rotten Tomatoes. I guess it can't be too bad, and that might actually be a good movie to watch if you're hanging out with your friends. Perhaps the big letdown in the movie is that, spoiler alert, they don't actually succeed at ending the thinning tests, though it's revealed at the end that everybody who got killed during it is still alive and working for the company who makes the test.
We have to do something, Dad.
I'm sorry, son. My hands are tied.
midnight blue and red lights come take you away.
If my dad wants to stand by this system, he's gonna have to stand by a system that put his own son to death.
Get the hell out of here.
System is down. Commence containment mode.
Number 7. Liza Koshy is one of the fastest growing YouTube channels out there and has gathered her 11 million subscribers in the last 2 years alone. Her channel being created in the summer of 2015. Most of her videos are comedy skits, and it was this brand of humor she translated into a movie format last Christmas in the YouTube Red exclusive Jingle Ballin'. The premise of the film is that her parents go away on a cruise holiday together over Christmas and leave her behind. And in an effort not to be alone, she throws the Christmas party of the century. Or tries to, at least. Of course, her efforts don't go entirely to plan. Otherwise, it wouldn't really be a comedy, when she naively admits everybody on the internet to come to the party and things get crazy. I guess people must have loved it though, because this year she was nominated for a whole bunch of awards at the People Choice Awards, the Teen Choice Awards, and the Shorty Awards, to name a few.
You're here. I'm sorry, do I know you?
The internet has very specific tastes.
You know, I could always sing a song. Cause I love to sing.
And that won't fly.
I've seen a lot of nice.
Why do you have a gun? Is it too much?
But I've seen a lot of naughty.
Oh!
Well, this party is off the rails.
There's a freaking ghost!
This is starting to feel really R-rated.
Number 6. Nerve was one of the biggest movies of 2016, and there were advertisements for it everywhere, especially on YouTube, where it sometimes seemed like you couldn't watch a single video without having to watch an ad for it. It stars Emma Roberts and Dave Franco, huge names right now, but also had a sly cameo from one of YouTube's favorite vloggers, Casey Neistat. If you haven't seen Nerve, the premise is that there's a huge game of dares going on globally, and you can either be a watcher or a player. And it gets more and more intense and dangerous as it goes on, and they just want you to escape the game. Casey stars in a short clip as another player and fails at what he's supposed to be doing, which appears to be stealing a gun from a cop out in the open. It's pretty cool, even though tons of Casey's fans have complained online that they wish he'd had a bigger role. Maybe he'll be the next to make his own movie like a bunch of the other people on this list.
This is so dumb.
Number 5. YouTuber KasimG had another blink and you'll miss it cameo, just like Casey. This one was in 2014's Transformer Age of Extinction, where he played a scientist there mainly for a comic relief and only had about 2 spoken lines. The movie was the highest grossing film of 2014 and also the most profitable, being the only movie that year to earn over $1 billion at the box office. Remarkably, it also has a rating of 18% on Rotten Tomatoes with an average review score of only 3.9 out of 10. One critic saying the longer the film goes on, the more boring it gets. So maybe KasimG cameo was the best thing about the whole movie. KasimG himself has more than 2.5 million subscribers on YouTube and has won awards for his work online. One award, which is still one more award than Transformers Age of Extinction has ever won.
And what about that big hole in the chest?
I think it's badass. I like it.
Love it. Well, I hate it.
Need to know the siege estimated blast range.
Duh.
Number 4. The next item on our list is like the YouTube edition of Where's Waldo, because you have to work pretty hard to spot this cameo, which is less of a cool cameo for someone with a huge online fan base and more of just a coincidence. The cameo is Jake of the YouTube channel Jake and Emma, which only has 16,000 subscribers, and in one video he tells the story of how he got a role as an extra in the very first Hunger Games movie in South Carolina. You can see him in the trailer for the movie standing right next to Liam Hemsworth. His story about being an extra is pretty crazy though, because it was so secretive that they were using the codename Project Artemis for the movie, and when they drove the extras there, they actually blacked out all the windows of the bus they were on so that nobody knew the exact location of the lot.
And I just assumed that it would be fun to go in and give them my headshot and resume. They didn't tell us to prepare anything. I mean, we were just gonna be extras. I never thought in a million years that I would get it. But actually, my brother and I were pulled out of line by one of the casting directors and said, "You come with me." And basically they expedited our process and they took our resume and headshot. We didn't have to stand in line, which is awesome. A couple of days later, we got a phone call that said they wanted us to be in the movie, which was even cooler. And the process after that was the really kind of interesting process.
Number 3. Anyone excited about seeing Disney's Big Hero 6 when it was released was probably excited for one reason and one reason only: to see the big screen debuts of 2 of YouTube's biggest stars in the roles of male technician 1 and 2. Okay, so that's probably not the reason anyone went to see Big Hero 6, but it's still pretty cool. The YouTubers I'm talking about are Amazing Phil and Dan Is Not On Fire, who had very short cameo roles but were used as a big publicity by Disney, who tweeted out a picture of them together in the recording studio, waiting a while to officially confirm that they were in the movie in minor roles. Minor as they were though, that's probably a better film role than most people have got, and I wonder how much they get paid for it by Disney.
Robots. Microbots? Baymax, tell him.
Yes, officer.
Microbots. Yeah, he was controlling them telepathically with a neurocranial transmitter. Come on!
I am not fast.
Yeah, no kidding! Go, 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 go!
So Mr. Kabuki was using ESP to attack you and Balloon Man.
Number 2. Jimmy Tatro is a YouTube star who actually managed to get a slightly bigger role in a movie, and not a YouTube exclusive movie or a commercial flop. He was in one of the biggest comedy sequels of 2014 and of the last decade, 22 Jump Street, starring Channing Tatum and Jonah Hill. Like in the first one, Tatum and Hill are undercover cops, Only this time they're undercover at a college and looking to take out a leader of a drug ring peddling a narcotic called Wi-Fi. Jimmy Tatro of the channel Life According to Jimmy is in the film as a supporting role character called Rooster, who plays on the football team and hates everybody around him, and is also a prime suspect in their drug investigation. The most important part of this character, though, is the bright red faux hawk he had to get for the role.
You're all fucking pussies! Dude, you don't have to do this. What? I just don't want you to get hurt. Whoops! Ah! Oh, shit. Whoa. Dude, I'm so sorry.
It's all right, man. Don't worry about it, man.
You sure?
Yeah.
All right. Ow. All right. Okay, I got it.
Ow. That's fine.
I'm gonna. I got.
No, let me get it.
No, I got it.
No,
let me just get it.
I got it.
Let's just go. Oh, dude, I'm sorry. I got my Q-tip in your meat, bro.
Oh man, I got my meat in your Q-tip. It's like a whole new type of sandwich. It's like a meat Q-tip.
Number 1. Anyone who's ever watched Shane Dawson videos knows that his dream is to become a film director. And that dream came true when he was chosen to participate in a filmmaking competition for a show called The Chair on the Starz Network. The film he made was called Not Cool and came out in 2014. But unfortunately for Shane, it was critically slated and now only has a rating of 14% on Rotten Tomatoes. And one critic even said that Shane's decision to cast himself as the leading man was a bad one. The plot of the movie is about 4 high school students who reunite after graduation and find love with unlikely people. But it does feature the well-circulated scene where she uses a watermelon to pretend she's pregnant. Then he trips her up in the store and the watermelon breaks apart, making the cashier scream and think her baby is dead.
Beautiful, you know that?
Sorry, no, I thought it was gonna be like romantic.
Better late than never, I guess.
You have a nice day, ma'am.